What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood web war fanatic, and we are back with another best way to play X Hero series here. And the next hero we're doing is Captain America right here. And I want to give a huge shout outs to the channel members. I had a poll asking you guys, which hero I should do next, and you guys voted for Captain America. This was a very, very tight poll. Black Widow at 30%, Captain America at 35%. So just, I think, like one vote, maybe one or two votes there, tipping over to Captain America. I wasn't sure which one was going to win for a very long time because they were tied for a while. So yeah, we're going to do Captain America here. And this is a difficult one to do. Black Widow, I already knew what I wanted to pick for her. But for Captain America, I mean, he is very versatile in every single aspect. So I'll be going over his different aspect hooks, for each aspect, and then I'll be going over a deck list, and I'll be going over an example playthrough using a deck list, which I think is the best way to play Captain America. Let's go ahead and jump into the aspect hooks here. So originally, what I thought was the best way to play Captain America was in aggression. I've since then changed my mind, or because I played it incorrectly. So there's one card that I thought worked really well with Steve Rogers, and that is Fluid Motion. There's a one cost upgrade. You can have 3 copies of it in play, and basically after you play an attack event, so after you play like the Heroic Strike, 3 cost attack event, or a shield toss here, also this is a 0 cost attack event, but also another attack event here, or any other attack events like a club or something like that, in the aggression aspect. After you play that attack event, you can exhaust Fluid Motion, and then Captain America gets +1 attack until the end of phase. So where I played this wrong is that I thought that you could stack 3 Fluid Motions on 1 attack event. So essentially, I thought that I could play a Heroic Strike here, do 6 damage, and exhaust all 3 Fluid Motions that I now have in play, give Captain America +3 attack, so he has 5 attack. We have combat training as well, so he has 6 attack there, and he can swing for 6, discard a card from hand to ready up with I can do this all day, his hero ability, and then swing for 6 again for a ton of damage there. And this is super embarrassing, but I actually have a playthrough doing that, playing this incorrectly against Venom Goblin. I think it's still on my channel. It says like invalid play or something like that because it is invalid play. I cheated that game. But yeah, I was like, this is awesome. I love Captain America. It's so fun with this, Fluid Motion build. But yeah, it doesn't work because Fluid Motion, clearly says max 1 per attack event. So after you play a Heroic Strike, you only exhaust 1 Fluid Motion. You can't do all 3 for 1 Heroic Strike. So I'll have to play Heroic Strike, exhaust a Fluid Motion, play another Heroic Strike, exhaust another one, and so on, right? This can work because, Captain America has, Shoot Toss, 0 cost here, but you do have this cards in your hand. You can also do a Clobbers to play multiple attack events, in 1 turn. But definitely a lot more difficult to do than just exhausting all 3 for 1 Heroic Strike. And since learning that, I'm not the biggest fan of that build anymore, but if that was the way where you could exhaust 3 Fluid Motions for 1 attack event, that would definitely be my favorite build. I thought that was super fun. But yeah, for aggression hooks there, Captain America does have a lot of aggression hooks. So see here with the Heroic Strike, do 6 damage to enemy. If you pay for this card using a physical resource, stun that enemy. So Captain America works very well with physical resources. So he also has like the Super Soldier Serum here. 2 cost upgrade, you can exhaust to generate a physical resource, which helps hit the kicker for your Heroic Strike. And this also hits the kicker for Dropkick, which is very similar to the Heroic Strike here, right? Dropkick deals, 4 damage to enemy. If you pay for it with all physicals, you can draw a card, refunding part of its cost, and also stun an enemy. So very similar to the Heroic Strike here. You can also combo Captain America with Yarm, right? Where, after you attack, so you can make a basic attack or play a Heroic Strike, then spend a physical resource, which of course, the Super Soldier Serum can help pay for, and you can deal 2 damage to any enemy. Very powerful there if you have the economy, and Captain America definitely has good economy, so he can do very well with Yarm. So definitely has some very nice, aggression hooks there. Obviously, combat training is very good for him as well because he can ready up here. So if he has 3 attack, he can swing for 3. Discard a card with I can do this all day and swing for 3 again, with that combat training. So yeah, Captain America I think is very good in aggression. Definitely you can argue for that being the best way to play him. I'm not going to be mad at that. Another aspect hook for him is going to be Injustice here, right? So, with Justice, his alter ego stuff is not the craziest, right? So he has a setup here where you search your deck and discard power for Captain America Shield, and then you add it to your hand, shuffle your deck, so that's only whenever the game begins. He has a kind of like a constant-ish effect in alter ego. So Living Legend here, reduce the cost of the first ally played each round by 1. So if you're in alter ego, you don't trigger the ability, but the ability is like active, right? So one official ruling that we learned about this, that really deters justice for me, at least for Captain America, is that it reduced the cost of the first ally played each round by one. If you start the round in hero form, then you play an ally, and then you flip down to alter ego, well, the first ally was still already played while you're in hero form. So even though you're now in alter ego, you don't get this effect at all. And let's say, for example, you start off in alter ego form, and then you flip up to hero form. Let's say you somehow like draw cards. Well, you want to play ally now. You no longer have this ability because his alter ego side's not face up, so ability is inactive right now, right? So Living Legend is kind of a weird one. It's nice because obviously, you can use this in multiplayer where like if someone else is going first, they get to reduce the cost of the first ally that they play, by one. But like to me, it's a way worse version of like Captain Marvel's, where Commander, where she can just draw a card or pick anyone else to draw a card. I think it's even worse than Peter Parker Spider-Man Scientist by a pretty big margin because Scientist you can always generate that mental resource no matter when you flip over to Alter Ego. And then for Peter Parker, if he gets out like a Helicarrier, you can always just use a Helicarrier to reduce the cost of the next card that someone plays by one, right? So like that kind of like mitigates like, oh, Living Legend works for other players. Scientist only works for Peter Parker. But like if Peter Parker gets out Helicarrier, he can still do that. And like obviously, you have to play a whole nother card, but like I don't think that effect is that valuable to share to someone else because either way, someone could just not share their Helicarrier with you, use it for themselves, and you can use that resource Scientist for yourself. Or like, since you're using Scientist for yourself, you can share Helicarrier with someone else, right? Or share your Avengers Mansion or something like that, right? So like, I don't think it's that valuable that everyone can use it because I've had so many games playing with Captain America and playing as Captain America where we're not able to share this properly because let's say the Captain America player goes first, he starts off the game or he starts off that round in Alter Ego, and he has no allies. So he can't use his ability. He has to flip up because he wants to do stuff where it's to flip up. So now no one else gets that ability for that round. Or if you are the last player and you're in Captain America form, but you plan on flipping down to Steve Rogers and you also have no allies, right? Because then no one can use this ability again. So like, you can be shared, but it's pretty clunky, and I don't think I think it's less than one resource, right? It's just not that good. It's a little bit conditional. I love the thematics of it though, right? I love Living Legend, just the sound that very, very cool. And of course, being able to reduce the cost of first ally, that's also very cool. So I like the ability, like thematically. Mechanically, I feel like it's a little bit clunky. So, for the Justice hook, not that much of an incentive to flip down there. But he does have a good incentive here with the Steve's apartment here. This is a very good alter ego support. One cost support as an alter action. You can exhaust the apartment, draw one card, and heal one damage from Steve Rogers, right? So you get a card draw and you can heal damage. So assuming you're flipping down to alter ego and then flipping back up the next turn, you can use it twice, right? Because you end the turn alter ego, next turn you start the turn alter ego. So you're healing two, drawing two cards across two turns. Very, very powerful card here. I definitely like prioritizing this card, especially if I'm playing a build that flips down a lot. So yeah, I think Captain America can work in Justice. He does also have the shield trait here in Justice, and I played a very fun game with Captain America revolving around global logistics and playing a shield build against Baron Zemo, where I scry the encounter deck with global logistics to get that card that brings out a hero that you fight against, which I brought out Iron Man for that playthrough. So very, very fun there to have Captain America fight Iron Man. We're getting Civil War soon though, so that's gonna happen inevitably anyways. But yeah, that was very fun to do. So another cool thing is that he now also has Shield Deputy, so he can play that in Alter Ego and give it to himself. And then he'll have the shield trait so that if he flips over to hero form, he'll still have that shield trait. You can play Global Logistics, exhaust any shield card you control, including Captain America, right? So, he also has some synergies with shield here with Agent 13 because she does have the shield trait. She does not have the Avengers trait. So, yeah. I think Captain America, he has some decent synergies in Justice. Obviously, he can thwart a lot as well with the Fierce Determination. He gets +1 thwart until the end of phase, draw a card, so it's free to play and it refunds its cost. It's effective resource, right? So Captain America has 3 thwart with that. If you have Heroic Intuition, he has 4 thwart. He can thwart, discard a card, ready back up with I can do this all day, thwart again for 4. Tons of on-demand thwart in there from Steve Rogers. So definitely, I think that Justice is a solid aspect for him as well. I mean, he's just very good in every single aspect. Next, let's talk about protection here. So I think in protection, he also has some nice protection hooks. Similar to T'Challa Black Panther, where T'Challa has Retaliatory 1 printed on him. Steve Rogers can gain Retaliatory 1 with Captain America's shield. Very thematic, very cool. One cost upgrade is restricted, but you get it with your set ability, right? And then Captain America gets +1 defense and gains Retaliatory 1. So arguably, I think that he actually works better in protection than T'Challa because he gets up to 3 defense and has retaliate 1 versus T'Challa only has retaliate 1. So, imagine 3 defense here, retaliate 1, but also he has 2 very good defense events, almost as good as backflip in my opinion. Some people think it's better than backflip. I think it's slightly worse. Zero cost defense event here, interrupt when you would take any amount of damage, exhaust Captain America's shield, prevent all that damage. Very, very powerful, very similar to backflip, right? Blocking out all the damage. Very, very cool. Where this card is better than a backflip is that it says when you would take any amount of damage, so not during an attack. Backflip only works for an attack. So that's very cool. If you're taking indirect damage, something like that, that will kill you, you can play the shield block and you actually be an alter ego whenever you play because it's an interrupt there. So whether you're in hero form or alter ego, you can block out that lethal damage there with the shield block as long as you have Captain America's shield in play here. Yeah, and that you can exhaust it, right? If it's exhausted already, if you play the shield block already, then it's not gonna be as good. Or if like you're playing against Magneto with the electromagnetic blast, exhaust all of your upgrades and supports for that turn, then you can't play a shield block, right? So yeah, I think that I would rather the backflip just because it's unconditional, right? I can play 2 backflips in 1 turn. And versus shield block here, I cannot play 2 in 1 turn because I can't exhaust that shield twice. And if something happens where I have to lose the shield to like a caught off guard, or if like it gets exhausted with like the electromagnetic blast, like where we were talking about, then it's not going to work either. But very, very those are very niche, situations, right? So most of the time, I think that it's gonna work out well. Shield block can block all the damage, so yeah, very good synergy there. You can play with Change of Fortune, because he has a retaliate 1, so similar to Black Panther, you can build out, that retaliate. You can give him like a Dauntless and like Endurance to like, increase his hit points, and then you can give him like electrostatic armor to pay more damage off. So yeah, I think Captain America has ways to do damage during the villain phase, and you can proc Change Your Fortune and then draw 2 cards after you defeat those minions after defending against them, right? He can also work well in perfect defense because he'll get up to a 3 defense stat, can build it up further with a armored vest going up to 4. You can build it up even further, from that. New protection card that we're getting from Civil War, and we also have specialized training, which you can get the defense specialist and get another, +1 defense. So you can definitely build that up, I think, to like was it 3, 4, 5 to 6 now, right? After Civil War comes out, you can get it up to 6 defense. Crazy there, works well with perfect defense. So yeah, Captain America, he's very solid all around. Okay, let's hop over here to the channel member comments. Huge shouts to channel members. I also asked you guys what is the best way to play Steve Rogers, and I'm going to showcase all the comments from you guys and what you guys think is the best way. So I had a poll here, and you guys voted overwhelmingly for leadership here, with 65% of the votes here thinking that that is the best way to play Captain America. Do I agree? I'm not sure. Probably. We'll see here. So let's go over to the comments here. So I'll give a huge shout outs first to Zalukun, where he was talking about a stun lock build with Captain America. And that works in aggression like we talked about, but it also works very well in protection because similar to the dropkick, protection has tackle, where you need a physical resource to hit that kicker, and you can do 3 damage and stun enemies. So Captain America can definitely stun lock a lot. You also have Iron Fist in protection as well to add more stuns. And then you have multiple ready builds, right? Because Captain America can already ready up a lot, so you can ready even further with like repurpose. You can ready even more with what doesn't kill me, because the requirement to pay for that is a physical resource, and Captain America always has that on demand with the super soldier serums. And yeah, Justice has some cool combos as well. And yeah, he's excited to see the build here, so I want to give him a shout out here, Zalukun. Thank you for shouting out Sunlock. I think that that's definitely a very powerful way to play Captain America. I also want to give a huge shout out here to NB. And sorry guys, I had to move my box here because it was like blocking the text. I did not put like my box in a good way here for his video. But basically he built a ready Captain America aggression deck with anything he could use to ready, adding in like Avengers allies, utilizing the tough on allies like Thor and Throg to tank attacks, and then Earth's Might here where you can exhaust Avengers allies to ready up another Avengers character like Captain America to give him tons of ready so that with combat training he can do a lot more damage. And then he liked building Captain America with the +1 attacks. We're going to get even more of that with Civil War, with the aggressive conditioning. So very excited to see that and pulling off skilled strikes. So yeah, that's definitely a very fun way. I mean, I think that you could definitely argue for that being one of the best ways to play. But he said probably leadership is best. So even though he really likes this build, I think NB voted here for leadership. And then finally, I want to give a shout out here to Curtis. Let me move my box. Okay, so we got my box back down here. So huge shout out to Curtis. He says that Captain America seems like a jack of all trades, and he's viable in all aspects. He likes him best in leadership. His alter ego ability works well with ally swarm builds, and his super soldier serums help pay for the price of your allies. That is true. He's very thematic to run Avenger ally builds around Avengers Assemble, Mighty Avengers strength in numbers, and a mission leader is also a nice addition because soldier traits get a discount on the mission leader. And Captain America, as we saw earlier, has great thwarting ability with his fierce determination and then readying up. So yeah, I think that is also a very good build for him. And I would agree. I think leadership, I agree with all my show members, leadership is the best way, in my opinion, to play Steve Rogers, Captain America. Unfortunately, I actually disagree that Mighty Avengers is the way. I tried, many Mighty Avengers builds with Captain America, and something with, I think that Mighty Avengers works better with a hero that needs more of that +1 thwart, +1 attack from their allies. And Captain America, he kind of like doesn't really need that setup as much. He just hits the floor running. So like I think that Mighty Avengers is still a very powerful build, and once it's set up, it's like super duper strong, right? Mighty Avengers, if you guys don't know, basically whenever it's in play, if all your characters have the Avengers trait, all of your allies get +1 thwart, or sorry, all of your Avengers allies gets +1 thwart and +1 attack. So very, very powerful stats there. But yeah, I feel like that with this, you also kind of want to have team training to increase the hit points of all your allies as well. And then, yeah, I mean, this is definitely probably the most powerful build once it's set up. But I just don't feel like that Captain America needs to get that set up. I could totally be wrong though. Let me know down in the comments if you guys disagree with me and if you guys do think that this is the best build. This is a very, very strong build for Captain America. I think you could definitely make the case for that being the best build here for Captain America. But I do agree with Mission Leader. I think that Captain America's best build is in leadership here, and it's actually with Suit Up. Okay, let's jump over to the deck list that I have here. Okay, so shout out to Curse. We do have Mission Leader. I think this is a really good card with Captain America. So Mission Leader is a 2-cost upgrade, came out in Next Evolution. You can reduce the cost to play this card by 1 if your Denny has a soldier trait. And Captain America does have the soldier trait in hero form and alter ego. So nice to get a 1-cost upgrade here. Hero response after a side scheme is defeated, exhausts his card. Each player draws a card. Very, very good at higher player counts, but even in true solo for 1 cost, this is a very good card for leadership. It's like a Skilled Investigator, but it costs 1 in true solo. But I mean, still very, very good because Skilled Investigator is a very good card, right? It refunds its cost after 2 side schemes are defeated. So let's go over the builder. So why do I think Suit Up is the card for Captain America? Okay, so Suit Up is a 2-cost event. As an alter ego action, you only play this card in alter ego. You search your deck and discard power for an ally, and an upgrade that can't be attached to an ally, you add to your hand. You guys know I love Suit Up with Moon Girl. But with Captain America, it works a little bit differently because he does not have the genius trait, so he can't pull like the powerful ally Moon Girl. Moon Girl is like the most efficient ally whenever you can play her and draw 3 cards. So Suit Up works very well with her because playing a Moon Girl can refund the cost that you use to pay for Moon Girl and that you use to pay for Suit Up. So that's why it's very efficient there. But yeah, basically with Suit Up here, the big thing is the combo with Living Legend. So let's jump back over here. So Living Legend, reduce the cost of the first ally played each round by 1. Okay. Well, if we have a Suit Up in your hand, you can tutor your deck and your discard power for any ally, and then you can, play the ally. The worst part about Suit Up is that it can only be played in alter ego. That's kind of like the biggest restriction there, right? Other than that, I mean, searching your deck and discard power for any ally is crazy, but you can also search your deck and discard power for any upgrade that can't be attached to the ally. You add them both to your hand. So Suit Up's always going to refund at least, its cost by adding 2 cards to your hand, the ally and the upgrade, but you do lose the card Suit Up here from your hand. Well, I talked earlier about how I don't think that this is the best ability. I think we can utilize it and maximize it the most with Suit Up. Because with Captain America, with this ability, we can for sure not play the ally in hero form because you can get any ally if you flip down to alter ego, right? So what I commonly like to do with this is we can tutor like Gambit or Professor X. Let me show him out here because Professor X here, after you play him, you can confuse the villain. So you essentially get that flip down to alter ego, but you also get the cost reduction here on Professor X with Living Legend. As long as you haven't played another ally, that round. Same thing with Gambit here, right? Gambit, he can't confuse, but whenever he enters play, you look at the top 3 cards in counter deck, you tuck 1 underneath the game, so only the boost is available, and the other 2 cards go back on top in the same order. So you know the boost card of the next card that's coming out, and you also know the encounter card as well. So that basically allows you to know that the villain will not hit in advance, so that you won't lose to threat if you get Gambit or Professor X here. And one cool thing that separates this from Make the Call is that Make the Call only works if the ally is in your discard pile, right? So Suit Up has much more versatility because you can tutor Professor X and Gambit here from your deck or your discard pile. It does not matter, and that is very, very powerful. Because you can really utilize the ability of Living Legend here. Because if you just make the call, well, if Professor X or Gambit are still in your deck, then you won't be able to flip down safely, and a villain may scheme because you won't be able to make the call them, right? So yeah, I think that Suit Up is very, very fun with Captain America here, and I like more of the generic leadership build here, right? So we just have a stacked ton of very powerful allies, not necessarily Avengers allies, but Captain America, he can work well with all these people, and he's teaming up with a lot of the leaders of the X-Men as well, with Professor X and Cyclops here. So yeah, one thing that I like more about this build is that because we don't have the Mighty Avengers and we don't have the Avengers symbol, there's a lot less setup. So like, the maximum impact is going to be less, but it's so much less setup for Captain America. We also don't need the team training. All these allies function very well, on their own. And I also think that a lot of these allies, even though they aren't Avengers, works very well with Captain America. So like, let's take a look at Cyclops here first. He is crazy. I think specifically for Captain America. So, 3-cost ally, as a response after he enters play, choose an enemy until the end of the phase, increase the amount of damage that enemy takes from each attack by 1. Okay, so this is similar to my Avengers build because you can increase the amount of damage that enemy takes from each attack by 1. So it's essentially giving, all your characters +1 attack. But you can actually stack this with Cyclops himself if you can recur multiple times per turn. So like if he's already in play, for example, and he has 1 hit point left, you can have him activate. He'll take constant damage, get knocked out, and you can recur him with a rapid response here, put him into play, deal 1 damage to him. So then he'll proc the effect whenever he enters play for the first time, and then increase the amount of damage the enemy takes from each attack by 1. You pick the villain right for that big push, and he has 1 hit point left because he already has 1 damage. He'll activate, do 3 damage, take a console damage, get knocked out, and you can play like a Make the Call to bring him back 1 more time, or even a Suit Up if you're in Alter Ego, bring him back and then get that effect 1 more time. So now every single attack deals 2 additional damage to the enemy. That works very well with Captain America because, of course, I can do this all day. He can ready up if you discard a card from your hand. And we have the Triskelion, swarm with a bunch of allies, and they're all doing additional damage, right? This worked out very well for me with my game against Magneto because I was not able to draw into my attack events, so that having the bunch of allies out in play was able to still do, 18 plus damage in that final push, against Magneto. So yeah, I think Cyclops is a very good non-Avengers ally that we want with Captain America. Other good non-Avengers allies is, of course, Gambit, that versatility to the knowledge of the encounter deck so that you can flip down safely. Maria Hill, she came in the core set, arguably one of the best allies in the game, if not the best. Probably the best leadership ally, though, right? She enters play, each player draws a card. She doesn't have the Avengers trait. Nick Fury, same thing. In my opinion, the best ally of the game. Whenever he enters play, choose one. You usually pick the one to draw 3 cards. Crazy stat stick and draws you 3 cards, refunding a lot of his cost. Professor X, we talked about him earlier. And we also have Vivian here as a non-Avengers ally. After she enters play, you can choose attachment, non-lead minion, or non-permanent side scheme, and then blank it out. Very powerful for Captain America to blank out whatever that he wants. He can recur her a lot with the Suit Up and Make the Call. I did that a lot in my playthrough against Magneto to blank out all Magneto's like nasty side schemes with when defeat effects, blank out minions with when defeat effects as well, like the Acolytes, right? So a lot of good stuff happening here with Vivian as well. And then all these allies here are not Avengers, right? So with the Avengers symbol, it's kind of like, does that outweigh the benefits of my Avengers? Like each one of these allies have a powerful individual effect, but together you get all their individual effects versus like the Mighty Avengers giving +1 to all the Avengers allies, but then each Avengers ally, on their own doesn't really have as good abilities, right? Obviously, White Tiger, I included her in here because she's a very good Avengers ally. She can refund a lot of her cost by drawing you a bunch of cards, but I don't think the other Avengers allies kind of like stack up to White Tiger or these other allies right here. So of course, having, that wider pool of allies that aren't just Avengers, you can pick the strongest allies from like each trait. And I think that works the best with Captain America, with Suit Up in particular, because like we talked about before, that synergizes well with Living Legend, because you can really maximize on this ability. And you can also use Steve's apartment here to draw a card in Alter Ego, right? So you get more of that resource management that you can use to pay for the Suit Up, and then pay for like the ally that you're playing with the Suit Up. So yeah, I think that more than justice, the best way to maximize Living Legend is actually a leadership build here. This is, in my opinion, the best way to play Captain America, Steve Rogers, and I also want to mention we do have the Honorary Avenger and the Clarity of Purpose here in this build, because these are both upgrades that can attach to your friendly character, including ally. So Suit Up, we can target either of these cards to tutor to our hand in addition with the ally with Suit Up. because we want to get that resource in our hand to help refund the cost for a suit up, right? So yeah, that is why those cards are there. But we can also play one of them if we want to, right? Like Declare Purpose to, get a resource generator, or on Avenger to give Captain America +1 hit point, right? These are both good upgrades that you can play on Captain America or on an ally, right? They're still versatile in their own right, but at least keep one of them unplayed so you could keep on tuning it with the suit up. Okay, so let's jump over to the playthrough here. I have a game here against Magneto on expert mode, playing as Captain America here. Okay, so here we're at a later point in the game, and we still have Magneto here on the stage 2. If you guys have ever played Magneto, you guys know that he can ramp up really quickly, right? If he pops his main scheme and it gets like one master magnetism and you're in alter ego, he can like just win the game like right off the bat, right? So I want to flip down against Magneto because Magneto has 2 mana counters here, and we always just want to be an alter ego against Magneto if possible, like if we don't lose, because the more that he attacks, the more that he accelerates those mana counters, and you have to get more encounter cards, those magnetic cards, right? And also accelerate the encounter deck as well. We do have him stunned here, but I still want to flip down to go for a bigger turn for the next turn, right? So here's where we flip down with the suit up. Okay. Let's flip down to alter ego. I hope we calculate that right. And then we're going to use the apartment, heal damage, and then draw a card. Got a white tiger here. Ooh, she could draw us 3, but then Dex is out, huh? Yeah, we don't want to deck out here like that. Yeah, we want to confuse from X, so we're going to play suit up here with a double resource. Search your deck and discard pop for an ally, and an upgrade that can be attached to ally, add to your hand. So we're going to look through here for Professor X, and an upgrade can be attached to him as clearing purposes because it says attach your friendly character. So now we're going to immediately proc the Living Legend here. So reduce the cost of the first ally played each round by 1. We have not played an ally this round. So Beast is going to be 3 cost here. We'll use 3 resources here to play Beast. And then whenever Beast enters play, search your deck and discard pop for a resource card and add to your hand. So we can get a double resource here, add this to our hand. And now we have immediately the 3 resources here to play X, who's going to be 3 costs. Where he enters play, choose one. We're going to pick the one to confuse the villain. So now Magneto is stunned and confused again here. Yeah, so as you guys can see here, very, very powerful to be able to flip down and then tutor any ally from your deck or discard pile. We wanted Professor X to get that confused on Magneto so that we can flip down safely. We get the card draw with Steve's apartment, and we are able to proc Living Legend and get that discount there as well. And one cool thing about suit up and the Living Legend and make the call I talked about a little bit earlier, but they're essentially like negated, right? Because if you play a Make the Call, let's say I'm playing it for Professor X, I would have to pay 4 effective resources to play a Make the Call into Professor X, because Make the Call is doing a 1 effective resource, and then 3 more resources there to pay for the cost of Professor X, right? Versus if I suit up Living Legend, into eventually getting X down, right? It's also going to be 4 effective resources, right? Because let's say I play suit up, which is 3 effective resources, right? Because suit up's card, and then the 2 costs to pay for suit up. However, you're getting a clarity purpose, and you're also getting the ally back into your hand. So suit up is just 1 effective resource. Still not as efficient as the Make the Call, but Steve Rogers Captain America has a Living Legend, which can reduce the cost of the next ally play by 1. So now I'm playing Professor X here, and he's going to be 2 cost. So obviously I still have to play that suit up card, and then I have Professor X in my hand, and it's 2 costs there, so it ends up equaling out to 4 effective resources. I hope I explained that right. I feel like I kind of got in a circle there, but it's going to be 4 effective resources with the Living Legend, versus if you make the call without the Living Legend, because make the call cannot proc Living Legend. That's also a nice bonus there, but the main thing is having the versatility to search for an ally in your deck or your discard pile. I think that's the main thing with suit up. That's the main advantage that we have with that card. Okay, so here we are at the final turn of the game. Magneto's on stage 3, his final stage, and he has 14 life left. Unfortunately, I drew 0 copies of my attack event, the Heroic Strike. So I'm unable to, I'm trying to figure out how to garner enough damage to burst Magneto down here. He also has the M-Type Sentinel, which has 5 hit points. So it's going to have a total of 19 hit points that we have to get through here. In addition to, if we defeat the M-Type Sentinel, his 1 defeated ability gives Magneto a tough stats card, and he has guard, which is why we have to defeat him, right? So a lot of things that we got to do. 19 hit points essentially, and a tough, and we're starting off this turn in alter ego here. And let's pop off some suit up and Living Legend. Let's mansion, draw a card. Let's use apartment, alter ego action, heal damage, draw a card. Come on, suit up. Suit up, suit up. Ah, no. Any more draw. We have white tiger. Yeah, then we play both Maria and white tiger. So Living Legend reduces the cost of the first ally played each round by 1. So White Tiger is 2 costly, just to be double resource, so we can play her. Whenever she play from her hand, I mean, we can draw 3 cards now because Magneto's on stage 3. I think we still have it here. 1, 2, there we go. 3. We got the suit up here. So we use Vivian blank out the M-type Sentinel. Yeah, we'll do 2 resources here. Play suit up. Wait. Do I have? We'll do 2 resources here. Let's toss that clarity purpose. 2 resources here, so we can play suit up. Alter action, we are an alter ego. Search your deck discard power for an ally and upgrade can't be attached to ally. Add them to your hand. We want our good pal Vivian. And then we also want, it doesn't matter. We want the Honor Revenger as upgrade can't be attached to any friendly character. So skip through the shuffling here. Basically, Vivian can blank out the guard and one defeat ability of the M-type Sentinel, so we can ignore his guard, and just go for Magneto directly. So she was in the deck, so we couldn't make the call for her, but being able to grab her out with suit up is very, very good for this final push. I can do this all day. Any more draw power? I play Maria Hill first, I think. Okay, we'll play draw a card. Oh, we got another draw though, so I could be able to do something with that. So I was still trying to dig for like my attack events, the heroic strike, even though I didn't need them. I just want to, do more damage, but I ended up not getting them. Let's go ahead and flip up your hero form. And then we're going to play Fear's Determination. We get +1 Thor, draw a card. Heroic. Oh, we got Nick to draw cards. No, I think we just go for the kill here. I don't need to do anything else. So like we could have played Nick to like try to draw even more cards, but like we're losing resources, effective resources whenever we keep on doing that. So I'm like, we have the kill here. Let's just do it. We don't need to play the heroic strikes because of the suit up and because of Cyclops here coming in super clutch. So all right, we'll do. All right, so let's see. What do we do first? We do Cyclops first here. So we'll do 3 resources here, so we can play Cyclops. Ooh, I should have Vivian first. That's fine. All right. Whenever Cyclops enters play, choose an enemy. We're going to choose Magneto. Until the end of this phase, increase the amount of damage that enemy takes from each attack by 1. So I actually messed up there. I should have played Vivian first, blank out the anti-Sentinel, and then just have like an ally attack Magneto, right? Even though he doesn't get the Cyclops boost, that ally, at least we can get the ally activated at Magneto. And then we play Cyclops after that. We would then max out on our ally limit with the Triskeleton, so we must discard an ally, so we only have 4 allies in play. And then all the allies could attack Magneto, and Captain America could attack twice here. Sweet. We'll play Vivian. So now I wasn't able to get the extra activation, and then when I play Vivian, I have to discard one of these allies here without the extra activation at Magneto, because the guard's in play. There's no point attacking a guard minion right now, because we're not even going to kill him. Point doing anything with allies. So we're going to max on the ally limit. We must immediately discard one. Let's discard Maria Hill. I should have played Vivian first, and then attacked, and then do Cyclops. That's okay. So Vivian enters play, we discard that. We have the Triskeleton, so we have 4 allies here. And whenever Vivian enters play, we can choose a non-elite minion, choose anti-Sentinel, and then he's going to have a blank text box, so he no longer has guard here. All right, and then now we're all going to attack Magneto with Cyclops' ability. So Beast is going to swing here for 2. It does 3 damage, brings Magneto from 14 down to 11. Beast takes a consequent damage. White Tiger is going to swing for 2, but it does 3, brings Magneto down to 8. She'll take a consequent damage. Cyclops will swing in for 3, brings Magneto from 8 down to 5. He'll take a consequent damage. Vivian will swing for 1, but it does 2, so it brings him from 5 down to 3, and Vivian will take a consequent damage. And then Captain America swinging in for 2 here with Cyclops and does additional damage, so 3 more damage brings him down to 0. And we also got the good old I can do this all day. Discard a card from your hand. Ready up Captain America. And we could swing in here for another 3 on Magneto. Actually, sorry, defeated. But yeah, all right, that was a. But yeah, okay. So I think that there is definitely a more, what's that called? A more efficient way to do that, to probably do more damage. A lot of times in the playthroughs, I don't want to think too long, because I want to just like move on with the game. I don't want you guys to like just like watch me like sitting still and thinking. So yeah, oftentimes I try to like rush these a little bit, and it definitely makes me do some unoptimal plays sometimes, like in this game here. But yeah, we had a lot of versatility there with the suit ups. We could get any allies that we wanted and go for that final big push here against Magneto. So yeah, I think that this is a very fun build. The whole entire time, I think we were pretty safe. I think we stayed at pretty high hit points the whole game. And then the threat, I mean, we didn't even get to stage 3 here. So pretty under control here against Magneto. We did have 1 acceleration, so I think he decked out once. I think he just barely decked out probably the last turn or like 2 turns ago or something like that. So yeah, that is, in my opinion, the best way to play Captain America Steve Rogers. I agree with the channel members that it is a leadership build here with a bunch of allies. I think Ally Swarm with some suit up recursion there to be able to synergize with the Living Legend is the way to go. And Captain America suiting up I mean, that's one of the coolest things ever. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know down in the comments if you agreed or disagree with me that a suit up leadership build is the best way to play Captain America. If you don't agree, let me know down in the comments what you think is the best way to play Steve Rogers. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.